Welcome to the Anika Apple Podcast. I'm Anika Apple, author, trusted advisor, and spiritual strategist, called to prepare leaders for a higher purpose, to help them reconnect to the truth within so that they can live a remarkable life. Here, leadership is sacred, community is essential, and healing is a collective act of faith. Welcome. This is where transformation begins. Thanks for joining me on this week's episode. My name is Anika Apple. I'm a trusted advisor, spiritual strategist, and author of the upcoming book, Healing is Required. I'm so grateful to have you with me for this really important conversation because what I know is that we can all identify with times where we have truly traded comfort for freedom. And so today's conversation is for all of us who have found places where we know we're called to do something different, where we've been invited to do some transformational shifting in our own lives, to make a divine pivot, where we know there's something that's calling us forward. It's freedom, but yet we might be choosing to stay in places of comfort. So we're going to talk about why that happens and what you can do so that you can stop trading your freedom for comfort. Before we get into the episode today, I want to welcome all of you who are joining me for the first time. It's a blessing to have you here, and I look forward to hearing your feedback on this episode. I want to just share with all of you that in the time that we're in, as we approach the launch of the book, Healing is Required, coming out, that we are really delving into some of the important topics in the book. And so for today's conversation, where we are talking about comfort and freedom and this dynamic of choosing one at the sake of embracing the other, that this comes straight out of the book. So there's a section in the book where we talk about this idea of what it means to be in the world that encourages us to seek comfort in a certain way. So this comes out of the second chapter of the book, more to come, but this concept is one that I think is so very important for us. We often don't recognize how much comfort keeps us small because it's comfortable, right? And so we can't see the contribution that staying in that place is having for us until something happens and calls our attention to it. So I want to spend a little bit of time creating some context for you and then to kind of get into the episode. And I'd love for you to think, as we're going through the episode today, in what places in your life may you be choosing comfort? Because in many cases, you may not even realize it. And I'm hopeful that as I share the insights with you today, that it will bring to your awareness some places where you can make a new decision, where you can have intention around what it is that you are designing for your life. So let's start at the place where we have an example of someone who allows time to slip away without recognition. The first image that I have come to mind is someone who is like sitting on the couch and they're just kind of like enjoying life. Everything is good because there's a consistency of being able to be in that space that feels comfortable. You know, people who have their favorite armchair, their favorite recliner, and there's a rhythm to that thing, right? At some point, they move from, oh, this is a nice place to just sit and relax after dinner or after work or whatever the case may be, to I can't wait to get back into that chair and just relax. For some people, it might be your bed. For some people, it might be a particular habit. It might be something that you do all of the time. And maybe those things are contributing to your life in some way. For a long time, many of us have been in experiences where we have not felt safe. And for some, that's like not feeling physically safe. For some, it's not psychologically safe. For probably many, it's a combination of those things. And so we desired, when you've had these experiences of being uncomfortable for a really long time, we look for safety. We want safety. And it's easy for us to find that and then allow comfort to become the thing that we crave, not recognizing that the intent is for it to be temporary. I don't mean that you won't have comfort across your life, but that you are not to settle into it in such a way that you are substituting it for freedom. Let me explain. If we go back to our example of someone who finds that comfort in the armchair, their couch, or what have you, if that becomes the thing that they do for hours every night, so let's say they come home, they have dinner, they're in the armchair, they're, relaxing, whatever, reading newspaper, doing games on their phone, watching TV, maybe they're even talking to their family. If there are hours spent in that space every single night, then there are opportunities that they are likely missing to build something else that brings joy, perhaps connects them to their purpose, makes a deeper connection with other people. There are things like that that we can choose to overuse in our lives that then stand in the way of us embracing something else that can help us to move to the next level. And perhaps for some people are like, yeah, but you know what? That's my thing and it's comfortable for me and I'm not interested in transformation, and that's fine. But for those of you who are like, I want a life that has more freedom, we've got to look at the choices that we're making consistently to see where we are choosing to stay safe as opposed to embracing freedom. Now, here's the truth that we often don't recognize. When we choose to go through the discomfort to get to a place where we have true and genuine freedom, we find comfort again, but it's different. The comfort comes from knowing freedom, from understanding what freedom gives us. Freedom gives us a different level of comfort. It's not transient, it's not temporary, and it's not clouding our lives from the other things that would bring us joy and allow us to live into our purpose. But you do have to go through the discomfort of removing yourself from what you have always known, always believed, what you have been experiencing over time to go on the journey to embrace freedom. I was reading something earlier today and this article, and if I could recall the author's name, I would share it here. But they were talking about why it is that some people stay in a state where they will never achieve or are unlikely to achieve generational wealth. And this mindset very specifically was a mindset around the utilization of credit. And if you survey people at different places in their financial journey, you will likely find that behavior matches some of the mindset about things, about the utilization of credit in this particular example. So what might feel comfortable to one may be, I am uncomfortable leaning into utilizing my credit more than what I know I can afford, what I know I can cover when my next paycheck comes in, right? Where on the other side of this, you have people who know how to leverage credit as a tool to grow their money. In this particular article, the example that the author was using was taking the money that you would traditionally pay to your credit cards, carving out a portion to pay, and then taking the rest of what you would typically use, putting it into an interest-bearing vehicle like the stock market, and then being able to generate enough wealth to come back, pay off your cards in a certain amount of time, and also have money that you had earned in the stock market. Now, for some people, they're like, oh, that's intriguing. For other people, it's like, nope, I'm good because I don't want to take that risk. And for still other people, they're like, absolutely, I do it now. And you're reminding me that there's another way I can think about the resources that I have today and carve them out differently so I can put even more in to create more opportunity for me to generate wealth. Our mindsets, wherever you sit on that spectrum in between those things, our mindsets are the way that we make the decision about what risks are worth it for us to take. The problem with that is that our conditioning and the experiences that we've had in this lifetime and some of the things that are already a part of who we are stand in the way of our being able to recognize that there's an opportunity to do something different here that then leads to freedom. And that freedom gives us what we actually want. So for the person who's like, yep, I hear you, but I'm really uncomfortable doing that, there's something to heal. And if they are choosing comfort instead of freedom, they might never get themselves to a place where they create the opportunity to use those wealth building vehicles to create whatever it is that they want in their life, like a legacy that they are able to give down to their family, to build a business, or perhaps to take that vacation that they know they deserve and have never been able to take. We trade comfort for freedom all the time, thinking that the decision to trade, to stay comfortable is the right thing. And what I would submit to you is that too much comfort starts to lead to stagnation and moments where we are trading growth, we're trading opportunity, we're trading the future. And I think that if we could see it in that way, we would make different choices. I know that if we think about freedom as that thing that feels so risky and so big and all of that, it becomes a really easy decision for some. If I feel risk averse, I'm just going to stay comfortable, right? But there's something else here that we don't recognize. On the other side of freedom is our purpose. It is our divine authority. On the other side of freedom, it's the life that is extraordinary. It's the life that you deserve to have. Freedom is also the connection point that we experience when we recognize that so much of the behavior that we have in the world is coming from outside of us. If we just sat quietly, ourselves and our purpose, if we sat with the divine in whatever way that you connect to God, or that which is, connects us all, if you sat just in that energy, it would be so clear to you that freedom is where you want to be, that is what you desire. We all desire to be free. It's in moments where we start to see that we have been conditioned to behave in a certain way, where we recognize even the things that feel like choices are often keeping us in this thing, this cage. That cage was created to have behavior look similar, to create similar outcomes. And for the moments that it served us, where it kept us safe, it kept us in a place where we could reconcile and understand what was happening in the world around us. It kept us in a place where we needed to be until we were ready to recognize, oh, this is not fitting anymore. And then make a decision to choose freedom. We have, as a collective, long since outlived the benefit of this cage. I talk a lot about this concept in the book, and I know that as you experience it, it will make so much sense to you. And I would say to you in this moment that when you recognize that you have been in this cage, that there is this comfort created for you in this space that is encouraging you to stay small, to not recognize that you're actually a giant in this space, that you will stay there until something happens, like someone tries to pull you out of the cage, or you open your eyes and realize, oh, there's something over there that I desire even more. In our truest alignment with God, the truth of who we are, our identity and our purpose, it pulls us to that more. It pulls us to freedom. It encourages us to do things like we talk about stepping out on faith, or taking the leap, or doing something that moves us out of that box of comfort. And what I would submit to you is that even listening to this message is an opportunity for you to explore the ways in which you have been settling yourself in that cage. Where are you trading comfort for freedom? And what would you do if comfort wasn't an option? Because I think if I could give you, one gift, it would be that. To reflect back on what you would do if comfort wasn't an option, and to go choose that thing today. Not tomorrow or next week, but to choose it now. Because once you make a decision that that is really what you want, you are going to watch things unfold and open for you as you continue to make choices in alignment with whatever that is. That doesn't mean you won't run into challenges and all of that, because of course those things are going to come, and you get to choose to see the challenges that arise as an opportunity for you to stand flat-footed in what you know to be true. I deserve that life. This one was fine while it lasted. It served its purpose, but this is done. And now there's something else for me. For many of you, this connects to your relationships. It connects to your work. It connects to the ways in which you maybe have found a lot of benefit and utility in the way you contribute to others, but you are missing what feels fulfilling for you in your soul. Freedom is the place where we reconnect with that, where we are saying yes to ourselves. And for many of you, even exploring the idea of trading out comfort for freedom feels uncomfortable because there are things that we still need to heal. I just want to take the pin out of this for a moment, let some of the air out of the balloon, so to speak, by telling you that it's not all from your lived experience. That for many of us, this is about what happened in generations before us. It is about the words that people said to us when we were children before we could really understand what we were agreeing to. It is about what people have said. I can think of right now a couple of people whose lives were greatly impacted by things that their elementary school teachers said to them about who they were and what they could do in this lifetime. So many things like that have aligned to the experiences we carried into this life, to how we interpreted early conversations, to what people spoke over us. They've convinced us that we're smaller than we are. And in your relationship with the divine, God is always trying to call you up to see your true identity, to recognize who you really are, to see yourself as the giant. And the more that we decide the world is right about us, the more that decision will align with being still in what looks like comfort. And here's the kicker. When you do actually see that this favorite armchair, this favorite couch, right, is inside of a cage, it no longer looks like comfort to you. Think about it for a moment. I'm remembering, what was that show? Is it Ed TV? And it's like that movie, and it's like the recognition of like, oh my gosh, I've been on TV this whole time. Is that the right one? That I've been on TV this whole time. You've been seeing all of these things. I'm inside this box. Imagine that is what life is like. And you come to this realization where you're like, oh my gosh, my favorite armchair, this place that I thought was so comfortable, it was in this cage. And there's this whole world out there to explore. Again, it doesn't mean that desiring comfort is not right for some seasons and for a time, but you're not meant to stay there for forever. And knowing that favorite armchair or couch is inside a cage and then choosing it is very different than not recognizing the environment that has been created around your comfort. You should know, you should see, and you should actively choose it. That's what I deliver to you in my book. Because if that is a choice that you make, then that's up to you. But so many of us don't even know, we don't realize that that's where we are. And the cost of that is so high. Because to look on the other side and recognize that if I start doing the things that are in alignment with who I know myself to be, I keep having these recurring thoughts about something I should be doing. I keep having this vision of seeing myself creating something. I keep having this inkling that I should be doing something. I keep hearing God say, you need to make this call or go to this place or build this thing. I keep experiencing these things because it's calling you to your purpose. It's calling you up to the truth of who you are. It's calling you forward. And perhaps you haven't felt safe to take that leap before, to make the decision that it's time for you to walk confidently in the direction of your freedom. And for some of you, you need to be in a full pace run, right? But it's time. And what I love about God is that God's desire is that you know you have a choice. You have a choice between comfort and freedom. You have a choice. And your choice, always available to you, I hear you, always available to you. But your choice creates the opportunities for you to be who you always desire to be. And when I think about the work that I do with my clients around purpose, I think about the way in which so many of them are like, I love what I do, but there's just something I know I'm supposed to deliver to others. And while I never think we should make decisions only based on the desires of others, I think we need to take into account who we are and what we need as well. But when you know you want more and you recognize that your gift is going to impact the trajectory of the lives of other people, it's kind of a no-brainer. And let me double down on that for you and say, and the beautiful part is, when you choose freedom, there's a level of comfort and freedom that's even higher. There's a level of comfort and freedom that's even higher. I needed to say it 3 times across this episode because I want you to get that into your body, to allow that to settle into your spirit. Yeah, saying yes to freedom takes you out of your comfort zone. But when you live life in alignment, you will never want to go back. You won't want to return to that old version because you know that's not the full you. And you have the ability to choose. All of the decision making is right in your hands. I'm just encouraging you to stop trading your freedom from comfort. I want you to recognize the hidden costs that are here when you decide that comfort is more important than your freedom. Because what you're sacrificing is living a life that's extraordinary, that you co-created with God. You're releasing the opportunity to help and support others in their path to their purpose. And you're missing the opportunity to see the truth that is all around you in the world. And that is so incredibly important in this time. So I want to recommend a couple of things to you. As you explore the questions that I have posed to you, I invite you to grab your journal, use your phone, notes, but to just capture what's coming up for you in this moment. Are you trading comfort for freedom? And in what ways would freedom shift things for you? What might you have to release, choose to let go of, choose to think about differently? And what's inviting you forward? What are the dreams, the hopes? What is it that is purpose-filled for you that you've been putting on the back burner, or that you've been saying no to, or that you've been deciding to put on pause? What are the things that you have dreamt that you don't even think are possible, but with God, everything is possible? We need to start at doing that exploration so that we can understand what's getting in the way. We start at understanding what does compel us to want to move forward. Then the next step is to really explore your relationship with fear. What are the things that typically come up for you? What stops you? What stories are you holding on to that discourage you from taking that next step? And then the next thing is, how would you rewrite that narrative? What truths can you tell yourself? Along this journey, one of the things that I have been holding as truth is that God desires for me to deliver my purpose in this lifetime. It's why I have it. And because I co-created it with God, as I do it, I feel aligned. And that also means that I cannot fail. And the definition of failure that I hold may be different than the definition that you have for yourself. But failing is giving up. And so for me, it's an expectation of iterating. I'm going to have things that don't work as well. I'm going to find opportunities and places where I need to become or choose to become better than what I have been. And that's all good. But I won't fail. Failing would be not trying. It would be making a decision to not keep moving forward. So what are the stories that you can rewrite for yourself? What things can you remind yourself of? And simply, what are a couple of words or phrases that you can proclaim that you know are your truth of who you are and why you're here? Because the more repetition that you have with those things over time, the easier it will be for you to steady your footing as you begin to walk in the path and direction of freedom. And for those of you who are like, I hear you and I am there, I am with you on this walk, I have a very specific ask of you. Don't keep it quiet. All too often, we talk about celebrating the things once they're done, and we miss the opportunity to take people on a journey. And what that does is create more distance between one another. It makes us feel as if there's a difference between my journey and yours. When in actuality, they might look different, we might experience different things, but the path is the same. We're going to go through a season of excavating, and then we're going to make some choices, and we're going to refine those choices, and we're going to do that as we keep on walking, and then we're going to have more recognition and understanding of who we are, and then we get to that destination. When we allow people to be a part of seeing that journey as it unfolds, it helps them to know that they too can make that progress. They too can make choices and find themselves in moments where the choices may not work out in the way that they hoped or desired, but that it's all well. We need to do more of that for each other. We need to share more about what the feeling and experience was of recognizing, oh my gosh, that was my comfy armchair, but it was in a cage. I was in a place where I wasn't fully being honored. I couldn't stand to my full stature because I was locked inside of something that was trying to contain me instead of encouraging me to grow to my full potential. There's a beautiful story, and perhaps you've heard it, about a tiger that was in this small cage. And as the story goes, they walk the cage every day, just walked it every single day. And at some point it's rescued and it's brought into, a new habitat that's wide open for them. And even as they come out of the cage, they're still walking that same 4x4. Because over time, that pattern is what becomes comfortable. It's time for you to expand the space that you claim as yours and move out of that 4x4 cage. So I thank you for joining me on this week's episode of the Anika Apple Podcast. And The big news is that Healing is Required is on its way to you. I'm so excited for you to have this book. If today's episode resonated with you, you will love this book. There's so much more insight on this particular topic in a chapter that I call Understanding the Matrix. And so you will have the opportunity to dig in a little bit deeper and to work through some of this work as you're reading that chapter and beyond. The beautiful thing about this book is that it has so much incredibly divine wisdom that flowed through me straight from God. It is God's book. And what I love about the book is that it positions us to understand what healing is, why it matters, how we are connected, and so where healing comes into the relationships that we build and how we strengthen society. And then talks to you about how to formulate your plan for healing and gives you lots of things to consider. It is a really beautifully woven together book, and quite honestly, the book is healing. It is healing. It is infused with healing. So I'd love to make sure that you have the opportunity to pre-order your copies, and you can do that at anikaapple.com or at healingisrequired.com. We have some great bonuses starting out for pre-selling. Pre-selling opens on the 26th of April, and the book will be on the shelves and out in the world on September 9th. So if you have any questions or feedback on the episode, please make sure you comment below. If you haven't subscribed, take a moment to do that. And of course, we welcome your feedback for Ask Anika Anything, or to know more about what we're doing. You can message us at connect@anikaapple.com. Thank you so much for watching the episode. Don't forget to share it, and I look forward to seeing you next week. As always, peace and blessings. Remember that you were created to lead with purpose and power. It's time to step into your calling. Honor what's sacred within you and let your life be the healing the world needs. Until next time, and as always, peace and blessings. If you'd like to learn more about the work that I do or to connect for a chemistry call, visit anikapple.com.